Morning, good morning, good morning. All right. What do we got here? We're all set up? Yeah. Okay, welcome, guys. All right, so we're going to wrap up the Chibi Gloomhaven characters this morning. I was hoping to do that yesterday. Didn't happen. Before we get into that, little plugging time here. So we got a mailing list. You can visit the website here up at the top. It's a bit.ly link, bit.ly/jarmail. There's a link in the description. You can check that out. Where else could you do this? Actually, on the screen, right at the bottom, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, right next to my talking head there. So jam that in there, and I'll take you here to my mailing list. I'm trying to build this up for multiple reasons, one of them being Godslayer, my first crowdfunded comic. I'm hoping to launch this year as well, and that way you guys can be notified when that is rolling on, as well as every month or every 2 months, I'm going to just put out like a little consolidated email, just letting you guys know what I've been doing on all the other platforms that I'm at that you might not be following, and content that's there, or like on Patreon, what I've kind of been releasing. So if you're interested, you can check that out too. So jam that in there. And then this right here, I wanted to start promoting too. And thank you too, guys. I don't know if it's just because we're streaming chibi drawings or what, but thank you for everybody that's been buying prints like this week. It's been crazy. Anyway, you can go to my website, jonathanrector.com. There's links again in the description below. There's a little shopping cart. Just go here. I'll show you. Right here, right at the top, there's a shopping cart. You can click that. It'll take you right to here. And yeah, feel free to scroll around. And some people were asking yesterday, why is there only Chibis here? And just to quickly talk about that, it's the only thing that really sells. Surprisingly, like somebody actually bought this yesterday too, which I appreciate. The Venom print, and they got the Pro Edition, so they're going to get a sketch with that too. But I think what we should do, or what I'm going to do, is we were talking a little bit about doing like once a week chibi drawings. And I would like to keep that going, but as well, I think it's probably appropriate to start thinking about like maybe once a month, or maybe twice a month, coming up with a new print to kind of just throw up here, because it doesn't cost anything except some drawing time, and since we already like drawing, it's not a huge cost. So anyway, check this out. Right now, there's 3 Gloomhaven characters already drawn. We got the Cragheart. Gloomhaven's a board game, by the way. Spellweaver and the Brute, I think, is down here. We're wrapping up the other 3, okay, and they'll be done today and posted today, as well as a bundle. I've had a few people ask about, somebody actually just reached out saying that they have like they're playing with 4 people and they all have different characters, and they were wondering if there was something I could do for that. So this will address specifically people that want more than a character, right? So we're gonna get a bundle together for thinking of possibly 2 bundles, but I just don't want to complicate it. One being all 6, and the other one being like 4. You could pick 4. That's usually the party number that a lot of people play with. And good morning, Pop Cultivation. I haven't seen you in a while, brother. Hope you're doing well. Mechaside, welcome. Look at all these friendly faces. Everybody's back again. Nimrod, welcome. Good morning. Rachel, good morning. Good morning. Oh, I got some coffee too. Check this out. This nasty. Oh, it's not good today. Whew. It's not good. It's coffee though, right? Lars, good morning. No, you didn't. It's a miracle, Rachel. We started a little bit late, so we can let people sleep in. Okay, so we're just doing the color flats here. Let me actually open up the other 2. The color flats are what take the longest. We got the Tinker that we're doing. This one's the Scoundrel. And then we've got the Mind Thief. There's a couple things I was thinking of doing here because I saw... Let me open up this guy. Because I don't think I've been doing glows. And if you look at this dude's eyes, it's kind of got like that. It's all cell shading, right? With like some gloss put over there. And I'm looking at some of these other characters, they've got like magic. Like the Spellweaver. And I don't think... I could be wrong with this, but yeah, I think I'm just blurring stuff. I'm not using like... Maybe I am. I don't know. We'll see when we get in there. But I want to make sure that these all kind of feel like they all belong together there. Yeah, okay. So let's keep going here. I try to jam in... Oh, sorry. So this is what the Tinker looks like right here. And what I'm trying to do is sample colors roughly. Just having a little bit of play with it too. I don't want to copy it verbatim, but I want it to look at least that it makes sense. So I was trying to put just a little bit of... We're not doing shading or anything just yet. So I'm just putting color holds in the smoke here for the potion. And everything in here is pretty much done. What I'm just gonna want to do though is like the rocks and stuff. So let's get that going. Color flats. So this character is a lot of warm colors: yellows, oranges, reds, a little bit of purple, going a little bit into the blue. I think for the rock here, what might work, because I want this character to pop. So if we kind of go into the reddish tealy green, but more into the gray, let's see how this looks. We're gonna adjust some of this stuff, but also the rocks too. The rocks, or the smoke, sorry, at the bottom is really gonna help. Hopefully make this character pop a little bit more. You're gonna draw along? Awesome. I need to start releasing stuff that we can do where we can just do draw alongs. That'll be color alongs and stuff like that. That'd be funny. Okay, we already got that. Prakash, welcome. Rachel, oh, you guys didn't see this one? Glad you guys like this one. We got some more inking going on. Cool. I'll be honest, the Tinkerer, if you guys go back to the first stream, the Tinkerer in the game, I like a lot. The design, not so much. It feels like clunky Iron Man. And even when I was drawing this, I was like, I don't know how it's coming along. But the moment I started filling it in with color, it all went away. I really enjoy this. This one, to me, I still like just a classic scoundrel. It looks more like a superhero, I'll say. Mind Thief, maybe once we get into some color, we will dress that up. But this one's coming along. And I think it's just because it's a little bit more busy. I don't know. Okay, we'll go here, and then let's go into like some greens, I guess. Just for the smoke back there. And again, what I'm trying to do here is just really push this stuff into the background. And there's some tricks we can do when we get to the coloring. Oh, I forgot this guy's dagger. We'll color that up. So what else are we going to be working on this week? This is, I would say, 2 days overdue. In the stream today, too, we'll just be wrapping these ones up. I think that should take us to about lunchtime. Maybe a little less than that. But the rest that I'm going to be working on, I won't be streaming. I'm going to try to record. I know that I have a couple things I need to do. What I'm going to try to do is offset these streams. I'd like to stream as much as possible, but I really want to start pushing on, if there's something I can complete in a day, having that more be one of those compressed videos with the narration over top. That way I can hit up some people, or they can watch it. Because I know there's quite a few people that don't catch the streams and stuff, which is fine. All right, I think if we go here, maybe we'll darken it up just a little bit. Well, if we just go totally gray, get some saturation into this guy. I just don't want to go rainbow feel with this. All right, let's just try this. And I still have to color his little hook there. But one little trick we can do, I like just doing this, fill it with black and then go color. And we can start to see the tone. Like, you see actually here, like his head is kind of, the tones are all blending in. Like this is getting a lot of area that's lost in here. And his feet match here. So, let's see, let's try this here. Let's bring this up a little lighter. That might work a little better. And then let's pick this purple back here. I'm just going to lighten that up too. And we'll see how that looks. I don't want to go white. Sometimes when you're adjusting that, we're really just desaturating it just so that like things can come to the foreground a bit. And what I might do is erase some of this back here so it looks like it's fading into the background a little bit. Yeah, I think that kind of works. I might actually, I'm going to add just a little bit of color in here. Right, just for this, you see how it's all kind of whatever. We're going to see if we can play around with that a little bit. Is vegan coffee more potent? I don't even know. Isn't all coffee vegan? It's a bean. I think we're good. Rachel's already on my point there. I think it already is, yeah. Lars, I'm going to shamelessly share and plug my Instagram. Go ahead. I encourage everybody to just jam chat with places you are online, so long as it's, let's keep it classy. Sorry, I'm ignorant in the subject of veganism. Hey, no problem. I can help you out. That's all good. Nimrod, I mean more pop than normal coffee. Oh, more. Morning, Stu. Welcome. Okay. Where were we at? We were doing this hook. The hook's pretty much the same color, I guess, as everything else. So we'll use that, and I think we'll pull in this gold. I was able to play some Gloomhaven last night, actually. And I forgot how long the goddamn game takes. Brutal. So I'm going to try to see if there's stuff I can do to speed that along. Because I had a good time. I enjoyed playing it. I haven't played it for a hot minute. But it was nice to just be able to play it. It went a little bit longer than it should have. It sucks when, you got a family and the little one wakes up super early. All those, let's play for 5-hour games. Those are out the window. You can't do that. At least I'm not able to do it. I'm sure some people can swing it. But it was good. Hopefully I can play again tonight. See if I can speed it along. Is anybody in the chat? You guys, or even if you're watching the recording, do you guys play at all? What if we come up here with this? I think this. I forgot to color this up here. With there, and then we're gonna just bring in some gray. Maybe. All right. One thing I don't like is here. Let's try this. That just looks like it's part of his neck part here. So we're gonna lock the transparency, fill that, and then we're going to grab. I think it's. Oh, I put it all in the same layer. That's why. Okay. Alright, well, we'll go with this, and then we'll go just a little bit darker. Just for, these straps over here. How's that read? Yeah, it'll work. Like that. Boom, boom, boom. Sweet. Okay, so I think we're good. I don't want to spend too much time on the flats here, because that's not the fun. Nobody plays this game. That's great. No, that's fine. Whoops, I just noticed this back here. Alright, let's bring the lightness up. There we go. Alright, so let's save it. Now, let me just check something here. 1 second, you guys. I want to see if I've been using the same shadow color. Turn on the color. And we'll grab here. Normal. And we'll go on this guy. We'll go normal. I believe it's the same color. It is not. Okay. So I'm kind of shifting it between purple and yellow. Or purple and pink, I guess. Let me just open the Brute here, the original. Let's see how this one's going. Select layer. Go normal. Okay, so I guess pink is where we were default going. Okay, that's good. That just lets me know where we're going to be, where we need to go. I'm going to start with the Scoundrel because a little partial to this one. I want to get my fun out of the way right now. Okay, so let me move this over here so we can see it. I'm not going to need a reference. Lars is saying I haven't lately, but only because I've locked myself into my parents' summer house and the network is too slow to play online. I like it. Rachel recently got into a very old-fashioned RPG game. It's a retro arcade feel to it. What game is that? Oh, Lars, sorry. Lars thought we were talking about just drawing in general. All right, all good. Okay, so for her, I'm wondering, maybe we should load recent Scoundrel. So again, a lot of these characters have got glowing eyes and stuff. what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try without glows, without adding glows anyway. We're going to the green and we're going to bring it up a little bit here like that. Let's go into the large inking. You see what I'm trying to do? I'm just trying to add the glow into the design that's already there. Labyrinth. Oh, I've never heard of that game. Alright, so this one's got like all these snaky kind of patterns. Snaky snack. Go up here. We're going to end up adding a highlight to a lot of this stuff too. So I don't want to go too nuts. We can get some of the stuff in here. Okay. So we're going to make a new layer. I've got a crap load of layers. Also, somebody did reach out to me on Patreon, so thank you. I uploaded the brush pack this morning. For those of you that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, let me bring this up here. Where we at here? Comics 2020. Unsupported file format. What? Since when does Clip Studio not open JPEGs? Okay, well, let's preview it then. Alright, so it's super compressed. Anyway, so these are the brushes that I use to do any of my comic book work. We're only using a couple of them for the chibi stuff. It's similar, just the chibi stuff I have like stabilization cranked like almost max, so to try to get a clean line. But this is literally like the process I work. Right from the silhouettes to like the big chunky shapes, breaking it down into our line art. Then we get into the inking and some of the rendering, and then the smooth and the smooth watercolor and color flats. That's for when we color. But this is what I've been using for about a month now. So if you're on Patreon, I made a post, and you can download these all for free. And somebody else asked, all you have to be is a subscriber, I guess, for $1. And you could always cancel too. Like, you don't have to stay locked in for $1. You can pledge $1. I get your money right away. You could go on my whole feed, download everything, all the PSDs, the Clip Studio stuff, all the brushes. You can just like grab it all. Any of the videos, you can see it all. And then by the end of the month or a day or two into it, you can just cancel your subscription, and that'll be that. Just to let you know if you're interested in that. But yeah, so I just put them up this morning. So those are wrapped up. And then the other question, because some people were asking, I will be putting all the PSDs in the Clip Studio Paint files that you're seeing. They'll be on Patreon as well. I think it's for the $3 and up pledges. And I got to go back and check. I don't know if I put all these cats up there. So it might just be one big ass beefy post that's got everything in there that you guys can check out. Dennis is welcome in. Vanderson, welcome. Welcome. Okay, let's get some shadow time. All right, one of the things I like to do to make shadows a little easier is even though we just spent all that time putting in the color flats, I like turning them off just so I can see the image and not get lost in the details. Plus, the way that we do the shadows, you're working in chunks anyway, so it's a little quicker to do it this way. That way we can fill it in, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we'll go here. How are we gonna light this? How are we lighting this? Vanderson is saying, I want to become a patron. What are the files we'll have access to? Or what are the files you'll have access to? Man, I wish I could go on there. There's a whole bunch here. Let me see real quick. Patreon. 1 second. I haven't really. Actually, here, let me see something here. Let me see if I can show you this. Yeah, I don't know if you could search. Posts. Published. Okay, this isn't the best way to look at this. Sorry, I'm a little stuffy here, guys. Don't mean to get too gross with you. Uh, I'm just doing a quick scroll. Like you'll have to scroll through my page. You got to work a little bit, right? But yeah, so like these are just some things I can't on. And I don't know if you can do this if you're not a patron. Like search by tags because I've got things that are like downloads and stuff. But so there's brush pack you can get. There's this D&D gnome scout that we did. That's layered. Actually, hold on. I'm just moving it off because sometimes there's private information that gets shared. Let me see. Okay, so apparently I have 388 posts. Yikes. And I don't even know how much. Okay, so this you guys might be able to see here. So I'll just quickly scroll. We're not going to go through it all, but yeah. So there's the brushes you can download. This. So for those of you that don't know, right, like what I like to do and what I'm trying to get better at is showing process for people that are only spending for $1 and stuff like that. So this one you get the layered files and all that stuff. Then here you can click on here and I want to be courteous to the people that are patrons here, but there's just process which are basically PNGs. I'll show you one. It's all good. And I think this one came up a little bit weird. You kind of have to download this one, but so I'll show you. It's just like a snapshot of like how I built it up. You see a lot of people do things like that, but at least it's still process here. We got this guy to download, this guy to download some updates, just general things, things that I'm finding that I'm sharing, like my Marvel comic board setting for Clip Studio. A little update on Castle Dracula. Maybe it's not showing everything here. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So it's not letting me see everything, but there's other things kind of along those lines. Yep. Everybody's everybody's all snuffy and stuff. Everybody's sick. Okay. Let's light this some bitch. All right. I think we're just gonna go super simple with these ones. Just light everything from the top. So let's work with like a core shadow here first, and then we can start jazzing this up. And this process here goes pretty quick because all the heavy work's already been done. What I consider heavy work. It's just when you, this kind of design where they have like all these details and stuff. When I'm going in here and I'm like erasing some of the lights, this is what takes the most time in this step. This step here, but it goes pretty quick. And then all we're going to do, and since this is a multiply layer, we just turn all our color flats back on, and then it'll work with everything. The only other pass we'll do is I'll use my smooth watercolor brush, and it almost makes like an airbrush or a blend. That way there's some differences in the shadows, so it's not all just like a hard cut. I know some people, they like to use an airbrush first, and kind of like airbrush in generally where something would be in shadow. And I don't have a problem with that, but I find this just works a little bit better for what I'm trying to do. And this is how I pretty much color everything, regardless of style. Just it's hard to get away from the speed of it. That's the thing. If I would say if I was trying to be a professional colorist, maybe I would start spending more time learning how to properly render and paint. But I sort of lie to myself, I guess, and say this is all mostly production style artwork, meaning like video games, movies, books, comics, and stuff like that, right? Where you need it's more about making content quickly as opposed to making perfect. Everything's super beautiful and polished. Polish might be, you can get the illusion that there's polish here, And that's kind of what I'm going for. And it's not to cheat or scam people. It's just, you're one person. You got to figure out what you want to spend your time on. At least that's my belief. Like you could do a few pieces at a time, and get a lot and get fewer pieces done unless they're just quick. I'm trying to just go the opposite. Get like a lot of content out there. Oh yeah, you can hear Alexander in the background. I've always got my headphones on here, so cancels out a lot of sound, so I can't hear if he's crying and all that. But yeah, he's just in the other room. John, is it okay if I plug my Facebook? Yeah, go ahead. Everybody can plug anything. Vanderson will join your Patreon right now. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I'm an open book too on there, or anywhere too. Like you guys don't have to be patrons to be like in contact with me. So if you guys needed help with anything or just wanted some feedback on stuff, I'll try to get to you. But yeah, send me a message on like Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Might take me a few days, but I try to get back to everybody. Alright, now this hair is going to be probably the most troublesome part, just because there's so many spikes. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to do something like this. I'll just give us like a plane for the throat. Oh, somebody's cranky out there. Yeah, Alexander might be getting his first tooth in. We think we see it every now and then. We've opened his mouth and it's not there, but sometimes I don't know if anybody in here has kids, but maybe it's the same for you. It's like every now and then you'll see them and something's different. It's like, oh, is it today? Is the tooth here today? Rachel, Art Hacks 101. Make art that looks complicated but isn't really. Yeah, that's horrible advice from me, eh? What does that even mean? That looks complicated but isn't. Alright, so I'm just going to do giant chunks of shadow here. Let's start bringing it back in. You'll feel it soon? That's fair enough. Rachel is the fourth out of 8 children. Damn, I'm used to the crying of babies. Wow. 8 kids. I gotta be honest, I know Elena and I talked about like 2 sounds like a good number. And then once we had Alexander, it was very eye-opening. And I'm like, oh man, how do you do 2? And then I hear things like you're saying, 8. I'm like, oh my god. I have to wonder, like, is there at some point, do the parents just check out and let the kids kind of take care of themselves a little bit? I don't know. Although I have this thought, and it's probably why I struggle a little bit with this a little bit more, maybe, or maybe just artists or people that do things on their own more often than not, which is if you can go to work and then come home and then all you do is like relax, we'll say, whatever that means. If it's just watching TV, if it's just hanging out with family, if it's just movies, but that's all you do. You don't have like I guess what I would call like what most artists do, where it's like a side hustle. If art to you is like a hobby, then maybe it works. But like, it's a lot of time. I don't say you're giving up because you're getting kids out of it and stuff too, right? So it's not. It's more selfish really than anything, I would say. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. But people that don't do anything other than work, come home and just relax and all that stuff, I imagine they have a much easier time just pumping out kids. People that are trying to almost work like 2 full-time jobs or something. Like if you're in a situation where you have to work two jobs. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like if you have the choice, right? Like if you're me, right, where I had a job, and now I'm treating this as that job. So I'm trying to, you know, get here, stream, uh, look for work, do commissions for people, blah blah blah, art stuff, right? And then after that, it's like, okay, well, you still want to do your own stuff. You want to do a comic and all that kind of thing, or make prints or anything, non-client related things. There's only so many hours in a day, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just different. Uh, I was saying the first. Okay, yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. Hey, Hero, welcome. Nimrod, you do two as you would have one. Yeah, well, I guess it's that simple too, right? Lars, I'm drawing realistic teeth right now, and they do look creepy. They never look good. I've signed up for years of pain. Oh God. My parents became more chill. The younger ones get away with a lot more, but the older siblings care for. That's what I'd have to imagine. And all the pain is worth it. My poor brave mother homeschooled six of us too. Homeschooling is actually something that we've kind of been talking like a little about, just because of what's kind of going on in the world right now. And I don't like getting too political on these streams, but there's been rumblings of like things like forced vaccines and stuff like that. Like I'm not a fan of that. And hearing the idea that like you can't go to school unless you have this vaccine and things. And I know there's certain ones. I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. I don't like that stuff. So the alternative is like homeschooling, and then that opens up a whole nother can of worms of like I don't know what I would have to do for that to be possible. Like if I have to go, obviously learn a different or get a different job, something that pays more money than drawing. That's for sure. But that's neither here nor there. How was the homeschooling for you? If you wanted to share with that, I'm sure it was fine. You can recommend it. I believe it. Dennis, don't worry, brother. I understand what you're saying. Kids are a lot. I've only got one, and there's definitely times when, and I mean, he's not even 1 year old yet. That's the scary part. The scary part and the best part. We were just talking this morning, actually. I'm like, oh, when he starts walking, it's a whole new world of hell. Ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, boom. Rachel, I think homeschooling gave me the opportunity to explore the things I love a lot easier. That's actually a really good point, too. What are the things you feel like you missed out on by not going to, like, let's say, public school or whatever? And actually, if it's not too personal, which I'm sure it will be, do you know why your parents chose to do homeschool? There's a lot more time and freedom to find out what I want to do with my life. I think it helped me be more prepared in life in general. Okay, I could see that. Lars, I'm teaching from home through Stream. What a drag. Sometimes, sorry, Streams. Am I right? Can't wait to be in my classroom full of kids again. Streams. Am I right? In Canada right now, I don't know if it's where else in the world it's like this, but the teachers in Ontario just went on strike one of the main reasons, from what I hear or I've heard anyway, is because the government's trying to push like basically online schools. It's kind of like home schooling, I guess, through the state. It's not. I don't really know how homeschooling works 100%, but it's like they're trying to get rid of classrooms or something. So the teachers went on strike, and I don't know if it's just change or whatever, but like that idea sounds horrible to me. That's why it's interesting. Like Rachel, it's why I'm kind of asking you a little bit here. It's like I wonder if I don't know how the socializing part goes. Like, how does if you've got a big family like you do? I mean, that I guess that's one thing, but socializing is such a huge important part of school, even if it sucks. Like it's the bullying and all that crap that goes with it. But like, I don't know. I think there's a place for bullies. I don't. I know that might sound whatever. It's kind of like life's tough. There's a lot of things you learn in school. At least I did, and I don't know if it's still the same anymore. Things move so quick. uh, Dennis, I don't mean to start a discussion. Here we go, no problem, man. But what was that about vaccines? Are you an anti-vaxxer? Haha, another team talk. No, I don't think I'm an anti-vaxxer. Like full disclosure, right? I like listen to a good conspiracy theory. So all that kind of stuff I've followed. Um, and I will say, because I've listened to that stuff so much, I can see a different point and a view that a lot of these conspiracy people have, and I don't necessarily look at it as like I don't think conspiracy is a bad word or people. I know there's people that hear conspiracy and you just immediately dismiss it. I don't think that's great for open thought, and at least to have a discussion about things. You might not agree with it or might have a different point of view, but just to shut something down, um, especially when people come up with what they consider evidence and they show you stuff, right? So it lets you just come up with like a an opinion. The way I always break it down, especially for comic book people, is like, have you guys ever had a conversation with a friend about who beats who, Superman or the Hulk? Those kinds of things. And unless you're just like a my opinion's always right kind of guy or chick, people have points of view, right? And they bring in discussion. And most of the time, you don't change your mind, right? But sometimes you do. And just being able to have that discussion is the important part. So that's where I kind of go with that. Uh, but the vaccine stuff, I mean, I get it. In America, it seems like it's I don't know super bad. And you always hear these things about like autism and how high the statistic like it's gone up since vaccines and things. So it's like I get it. I understand where people are coming from with that, but I haven't done enough research myself to say if I was like on board with it or whatever. But yeah, like I don't just snap go. It's it's fact or something. And then again, I know I'm not a scientist or anything, so I'm not going to be able to come up with like a an answer right away or understand exactly how everything works. I kind of need things explained to me, much like anatomy, much like perspective. I need people to teach me and show me how does this kind of stuff work with art. It's no different with everything else in life. At least that's my view on it. But like a mandatory, like, see, this is where like everything I'm talking about requires context, and I don't know if I necessarily want to go in there, go in that route, because that's where it can start getting spicy. And I made a tweet about something like this, I think a week or two ago, where I was talking about this and even the coronavirus and just the fact that I was looking at other things and hearing different information than the Canadian government and the American government or whoever else on TV every day. Like I've stopped listening to pretty much everything daily. I'm just over it. There's nothing I'm gonna be able to do about it, and I feel better about it now. Like I'm not worried or stressed like I was. Like every day it was something new, something new, something new. But yeah, I just started listening to some other things just to get a different view, and it's it's a lot different out there. Go figure, right? You start listening to something else, and different people have different views, and then they all have research, or they all look at people or talk to people and get opinions on things. But the Twitter thing I was saying, and why I've kind of pulled back on it, is there was one person in particular that really let me down, and a few others that just randomly tweeted me. Some of them I didn't even know who the hell they were, just because I posted something, and they took it as like I don't know, it seemed like an attack, or like the fact that I was even entertaining a thought was like below me or something. You know, like how, like why would you be so stupid as in to think that? And I don't know. I can't stand people like that. And especially this one person in particular, I was kind of let down. I'm like I've talked to you, and we're not very close friends at all, but I don't consider you a stranger necessarily. And just to have a snap reaction like that, to like that's it, I'm done, like cutting you off. And again, it's no sweat off my back. I don't know this person personally, and I'm still gonna go to bed. It's not like I'm hurt by this, but it was just sort of like, wow, it's a shame. Like there wasn't even a discussion about it. And I guess maybe you don't need to discuss everything, but to just write somebody off for having a different viewpoint is, whew, it is what it is. I don't know. I know I'm kind of going off patterns, or not off patterns, but off that question. Like Alexander's got vaccination so far, but it's the mandatory stuff that I don't like. Because and that's sort of where I'm kind of going with is like the guy's not even in school yet. The guy's 10 months old, and with everything that's going on, the idea that he might not be able to go to school unless he has this thing, and the stuff I'm listening to, I don't want to get into it too much because again, there's context here that I'm not really explaining because I know there's people that don't want to hear it or don't agree with my view, which is fine. But there's reasons why I have hesitations on this particular vaccine, and that's what kind of goes into the discussion of like, oh man, so homeschooling that might be a reality or something I got to look into because of this, and that part sucks. That's the part where I'm kind of, man, what the hell? So, okay, let me catch up with you guys. Whoa. And yeah, if you guys want to talk about this stuff, I mean, we can. I mean, it sucks because I'm the only one on the mic right now, so it's like I just get to keep rambling. Sorry, going back. Rachel's talking about homeschooling again. And the socializing was what I asked, and she said not a lot. I guess I would have liked to try theater class, but there are still opportunities for adults outside of school to do that. Mostly because we are creationists, but there's a whole other tower reason for it. Sorry, maybe I'm not reading that right. We have plenty of social interaction. I was in all kinds of scout groups and clubs, but I agree, non-anti-vaccines, but I want it to be my choice. Some vaccines use fetal cells. Okay, so Rachel, yeah, which I don't agree with. Okay, so it sounds like there's like some overlap with some of this stuff here for sure. Hero saying bullies are part of the environment, part of nature. See, and again, that's what I love with this stuff. Like these are the discussions that'll get the spice going, right? We'll actually all have a conversation because we all have points with this stuff. But again, I'm the one on the soapbox with the mic, so I'll always have the loudest voice. That's why I don't always want to go into these things. But yeah, I agree. Bullies are part of the environment for sure. But I don't know if you can ever get rid of bullies. It'd be nice, but if you've ever worked a day job or worked with a really crummy manager, or even just maybe not even a manager, but like bullies, they're the same. They just become a little. It's the same but different. I love that expression, right? And one of the benefits I would say for me when I look at that through school is like it gets you ready to realize that not everybody's nice in the world. So as you grow up, and hopefully as you grow up, you can, if you got a strong family or support system, they'll teach you how to deal with that kind of stuff. Because the world's a scary place, man. Like, you guys ever want to look at some like really crazy stuff in the world, right? Like, it's on the internet. You can just do a couple searches and you'll be in like some websites or whatever, and you can see some of like humanity doing some really messed up stuff. And I think that's one of the things, like, where, at least where I live, it's not every day where you see this stuff in the real world. It's hidden. It's over there somewhere, whatever that means, right? So you don't have to think about it, but like it happens. It happens. I don't know. See where I can start like doing this all kind of stuff. But anyway, Lars, we're in a weird state right now. All the teachers who teach from 0 to 5th grade are back at work teaching the rest of us. Teach 6 to 10th, they're still teaching from home. Everything, regardless of what my thoughts are, like after all this, the world's going to be different for sure. Especially, I don't know if you guys are following the oil stuff right now, but the oil stuff is there's a whole thing going on with oil right now, and it's not good. And once that starts really diving, and it's already on its way, I highly recommend you guys check that stuff out. It's gonna be interesting times. I don't mean to just get all doomsayer here on you, but it's gonna be rough. We're in a rough patch for sure. I'm more into this like people are getting sick. Not I don't even know if I should really get into this stuff, but I agree. People are getting sick and all that stuff, but the human life being lost, of course, that's horrible. But the economic thing this is going to do to the world is, I would argue, more devastating. If you've lost somebody or somebody's sick, my empathy and sympathy for sure. I don't want to make it sound like your tragedy shouldn't be. You shouldn't, have some sympathy and some empathy going through that. Of course, that's not where I'm trying to go at. It's just if you don't lose anybody in this, so you're kind of coming out clean, we'll say, it's we're in for some shite. So I'm the kind of guy that likes to know that the house is on fire, so I can do something about the house. I don't want to just go, you know what, the house is on fire. I don't even want to know the house is on fire. La 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 la. I don't want to do that. I like to know what's kind of coming, so I can prepare, or I can at least have an opinion or direction that I would like to go, kind of thing, as opposed to just being blindsided, kind of like with what's happened already with good old Rona, just just destroying the economy, just ripping it up. But anyway, the process should go. Uh, Oil and stuff's going to tank. It's all going to keep going. If it does, keep going the negative. And then once oil starts going down, then banks will start calling in for their loans because nobody's spending money. And then that's when we start getting into the good stuff. Okay, anyway, I don't even know where we're going with all this. Okay, Hero, you've been taking your time with shadows. I've been slacking with mine. No wonder they look so sharp. No problem, man. Also, I am rambling here, so there's like I'm petting the lines. Usually I go a little quicker. This stuff too, I should say, with the shadows, like there's a lot. Like, let me turn them off. Like, there's a lot of detail in here, right? So I can't just go. Okay, well, I guess I could. I could just go like, okay, this is all in shadow, and then just keep going there, and it's probably fine. But I like to open it up a little bit, so there's a lot more lines I have to kind of pet around to do this. Rachel, my mom was pretty good about that stuff, but it depends on the family way of handling it. Okay. Dennis did me. No, it's all cool. It's okay, man. Don't worry about it. Here I got to slow down with the shadows. All good, all good, all good. Um. Rachel, I've heard that better socializing than some public schoolers. Shocking. Rachel, I think people need to realize that being shy is more dependent on the person than the method of education. Yeah, I agree with that. I guess my kind of thing was like, again, it goes back to the parents. You have to make sure your kids socialize 100%, because if you don't, I know people, and I've seen kids that are antisocial. Like, I'm antisocial. I don't like hanging out with people, and I didn't socialize that much growing up, but I know the importance of it. And we're humans, so you got to interact with other humans and stuff. So, Lars, how do you feel about this? As far as I know, there's no evidence that a mask will help against the virus. It will, however, give some people a sense of being more secure. Um, I'm on the fence that I agree with that. Yep. Lars, if I had to go back to work, I'd probably wear one, but they made a rule against it. We are not allowed to wear a mask in class. Personally, I think it should be up to the individual. I guess there's context. Like, why are they making you do that? Is it they don't want to give the kids fear and stuff? Is that the idea? Okay, here we go. See, stream's current bit rate is lower than recommended. Okay, so if this is getting all laggy and stuff, I apologize. Um, Hero saying, I think the education system's up for a change. I agree. Rachel, I've heard the mask is to protect other people from you, not vice versa. Yeah, well, that's just, I think that's it. Like, a lot of the stuff I've been checking out, man, it's like nobody really knows what the hell's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. And the weird part is everybody's telling you what to do. It's interesting. Nobody really knows what's going on, but everybody knows what you're supposed to do. Oops. Okay. And thank you guys too. Again, I'm getting this warning that my bit rate is crap. So I don't. Maybe just the people watching the recorded version will hear this. I don't know. But thank you guys for. I know this is an art stream. We're drawing pictures, right? We're drawing, of all things too, we're drawing cute little chibis. But I do appreciate you guys having a discussion about this kind of stuff. Whether you, and I mean, yeah, this might not be the topic people want to talk about, right? Like, I am very aware and I try, even though I guess I would argue right now I'm not trying, for this to just be escapism. All of that real life stuff, you turn on the TV or stop watching this and go do something else, and you'll be aware of it, right? Like, it's going to be around you. So I'm trying to not get in there, but it's tough because it's like, this is real stuff and it's interesting, right? And I want to hear people's opinions and thoughts and stuff. It's on my mind, so it's on other people's minds. But I am trying, and maybe I should just move on and just not address it. But thank you anyway for talking about it. Large is saying, I know that might be a thing, but I'm not sure there's any evidence for it. Hero, bullies are necessary evil sometimes. I'm in that camp. Like, I was bullied too. If you could believe it, I used to have an afro, a curly head of hair, and I remember in grade 3, vividly, when I moved back to Windsor, I was getting picked on every day. I still remember his douchebag, something Bondy. I forget his first name. Greg Bondy might have been his name. Not that that ever matters. Like, I don't care anymore. But I remember them. They would grab me and they would put me near this one of the school walls there where we used to play Ass Burner. It was called, if you guys remember that. Or you get a tennis ball and everybody's lines up on the wall and you're trying to hit people in the ass, and it hurt a lot. And if you could either it was dodge it or block it or something, you could switch out. Forget the rules, but that wall, and they would grab me by my hair and they would, like, it felt like they were lifting me off the ground, but in my mind they probably were, but they weren't. But that pulling, I still remember that pulling. Maybe that's why I went bald. So bullies can't pull my hair, but like, I remember that, and I've moved on. I don't carry that with me or anything like that. But the necessary evil part, like, I do think that there is that. There's a level, sure. Like, once it starts getting into, like, there's, I don't know what that level is. I think it's individual for everybody, but I think, again, if you have a support system, and if you don't have a support system, then that's kind of like what gets a little dicey, because, like, then how can you start dealing, like, who's there to teach you how to address, or, like, not get over, but grow from this, and take to learn from what's happening. And then I think that goes into, like, a larger issue altogether. It probably has mostly to do with your family, mostly your mom and your dad, right? Like, like everything does. Or if you have 2 moms and 2 dads, whatever the hell you got. But so long as you like, I don't know. I think a lot of people that go through some shite, and they can't really, I don't want to say get over it. I'm just using that like a simple way of saying it. That they don't have a very strong support system. And again, anyway, let's keep going. Nimrod, bullies are even families? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. It's humans, right? They're an interesting species. Rachel, on the subject of bullies, I can't argue for or against them. I have dealt with bullies as a kid, and I just wouldn't be the same person. I can't say that that's bad or good. I'm in the same boat. Hero, my little one just woke up. Awesome, man. Lars, did you see the bit Chris Rock did on bullying? Saying we wouldn't have Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg without bullies. There you go. Rachel, I probably wouldn't have had the confidence or self esteem to share or talk about my art if I had been bullied, but maybe I would have been a great non creative person who knows. Yeah, you can't work in that's the other thing, too, right? Is like a lot of people have this thing where it's like, well, if you don't do this, then that will happen. And I really don't like that if this, then that kind of thing in discussions and stuff like this because how could you know? If things changed in our past, how would you know that it would be for sure different in the future, right? It's so I don't know, maybe I'm not educated enough to know that, but it just feels wrong. Like that you would know for sure what would happen. Hey Darkside, how's it going? No, you're right. Look, people have to pay rent, eat food. How do you do that with no money? Are you talking about the economy? Is that where we're going? Yeah, that's personally, I'm in that. If that's what you're talking about, that's why I'm in that camp. Because like right now, I got laid off. I know a lot of people that are either they got fired because the business went tits up, or they're laid off, and now we're relying on the government. And I'm definitely one of those smaller government people for sure. I don't like having to rely on the government to give me a check. It's nice in this situation, right? But I'm not in camp. Like that's why I'm still trying to work and get money because I want to get off of that. I don't like relying on the government for stuff like that. Lars, what blending mode are you using? Multiply. Multiply for shadows, and then in Clip Studio for highlights, we're going to use, I believe it's like, yeah, Add Glow, it's called. That's what we'll be using. And this should probably be going faster, but we got some good stuff. Jack, news is all doom and gloom. Don't take them too seriously. Yeah, I think I heard Joe Rogan say it once, and somebody else could have said it. It was like, you could get a topic, we'll say the coronavirus because it's on it. And if you watch all these different stations and they all say something a little different, right? Well, if it's the news, it should be correct. If it's investigative journalism where they're still figuring things out, like you should know about that, right? But if you're getting different answers or different news of the same thing, one of them's lying, and you never know which one it is, right? Unless you go and you look into it, and maybe you come up to your own conclusions, but you never know who's lying, but somebody's lying. And then you got to realize, like, it's a business. They're there to make money, right? They're there for advertisements or whatever they're trying to do, viewers, right? So, 100%, 100%. Bill Gates is heavy into the vaccination, which is pretty scary, says Stu Man. He was even into talking about population control. Screaming conspiracy theories just a way to shut up the whistleblower. So Stu Man and I, we sound like we're in good company. What Stu Man said there, that's sort of where the stuff I was listening to started to go. And it sounds crazy, so I would look and dig and watch some more videos or read some links or listen to what some other doctors and things are saying, and things start to not add up. At least not to me. Like trust me, I was very much like, okay, like this is just another thing going on. And then it started becoming scary because I started seeing people around me acting, like as if this was like this is it, this is where we go, this is the thing that's going to destroy us all, right? And then you start hearing weird stuff, like people are buying, like the toilet paper thing is, I never even would have considered that, but it's okay, I get it, all right. So people, they start getting weird, right? And then jobs start disappearing, and then you start hearing weird stuff, like everything's shutting down just to hope that this goes away in time or something, right? So it's like, all right, like I'm playing along. It's not like I was against anything, but it became real. Everything around me was like falling apart. So of course I'm gonna treat it like it's okay. This is serious. And then I got nothing to do at home. I'm drawing and stuff, and I get tired of listening to all of it. I'm like, okay, nothing's getting better today. Cool. Maybe tomorrow. I'll tune in tomorrow. Oh, more things are getting worse. Okay, maybe tomorrow it gets better, right? That's living in fear, and it's not fun. Not fun at all. So then I just stopped listening to it. And then my brother-in-law, great guy, awesome guy, and he's I hate saying conspiracies though, because it just makes it seem like it's so easy to just dismiss as like don't even bother with that. But I think that's just so wrong because there's so much I don't know, maybe value is not the right way, but there's definitely a different take in life. Listen, I'm a storyteller, guys. I like good stories. Okay, so there's a reason why I'm like, ooh, yeah, let me get some juicy conspiracy stuff, right? And especially like when everything I was listening to was like from the government and all that. And I don't want to sound like I'm anti-government and all that because I'm not. But the more you hear, it's just like, okay, all right, cool. This is going on. Nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. But there is things that have happened in the past, right, where the government isn't always on the up and up. And if you don't know that by now, like like that should play into some stuff. So just knowing that for me means okay. Well, I'm gonna look around. I'm just what the hell else am I doing? I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna listen to some of these crazies out there, whatever. And then some of the stuff they're saying, or the doctors that they talk to, and right, like so. What doctors do you listen to? I don't know. You know what I mean? But all of it, at least what I've been looking at least has shown me that this is not the thing that's going to destroy us. If anything's gonna be super bad, it's what the economy is going to become after this. That's the scare reality of it. Anyway, that's right. Sorry, so I'm all over. Anyway, so what Stu was saying there with the Bill Gates kind of stuff, that was wrapped into some of the stuff I was listening to. And then when I go to look into it, it's like, okay, that seems odd, So that's why I'm just kind of like. Anyway, Dennis says if I have to choose a side, I'd be pro-vaccine, mandatory. It simply doesn't work if everybody doesn't buy into it. But I get that there's a lot of issues with it. Yeah, I think Dennis and I appreciate you, man, coming here. I feel like just some of the comments we've had back and forth, we're not on the same page with a lot of stuff, and that's fine. I'm not, I'm glad you're sharing that stuff, but yeah. Anyway, just some of that stuff is like I just can't get on board with. Uh, Dark Side saying it is what it is. People are afraid and understand that COVID could hurt me, but not being able to pay my rent or not being able to buy food will kill you. Yeah. Yep. Pictures or it didn't happen. I'll see. I think there's one picture that exists, and I'll see if I can find it. I'm trying to skim through here because I know I need to. We're talking about some juicy stuff right now, and I definitely need to get in here on this. But I just want to see if there's anything else. Was that the American worldview and the Scandinavian? Oh, I imagine just like the Canadian view, all of it, right? It's who knows. Oh, it's Earth Day today. Cool. One of the things too, and hopefully I can wrap it up with this. If anything, if I can get any of you guys to just sort of you know think I'm out to lunch and all that, that's fine too. Not trying to change minds. Only talking about it because that's sort of the ebb and flow of the conversation today, which is cool. One of the juicy little pickles that got me kind of going like, well, that doesn't make sense. Is there's a few doctors that are I don't want to say have come out. That sounds like a weird way of saying it, but on some obviously not major syndicated TV news stations, obvious reasons in my opinion, but where the doctors are saying, and again, I don't know why a doctor would say this. Not that it wasn't true, but why they would say this in general. And there might be a reason. I just don't know what it is. That let's say you have a pre-existing condition. Uh, it could be as simple as this. Let's say you're out in the garden right now because you got nothing to do, and you break your arm. You go to the hospital, and it somehow kills you. I don't know. Maybe you have a heart attack. We'll go with that heart attack, and you die. If you have symptoms of this thing on your death certificate, they write you died from Good old Rona. That seems. So when I hear that, I'm like, that doesn't click. And that's part of some of the stuff that I started going. Okay, I just want to look at some stuff. And when I also, lastly, I'll say here, like I had shared that on Twitter too. That was one of the things where people started getting super spicy, man. Like people just can't hear things. Some people just get real offended, and it's sad. I don't know how you can have discussions with people when they don't want. Like if you don't want to hear anything, you just you put your hands in your ears and la 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 la. I feel sad for those people. Like I'm not. I don't. I would say I'm not offended. It's just like I'm not. It's just a shame because it'd be nice to be able to talk to people about. What is it? They say there's some things you just can't talk to friends about or people with. It's like what is it? Religion, politics, and something else. And I hate that. I wish you could. I wish people could listen to thought and discussions and stuff, and that way you could have an opinion. But I don't know. Anyway, so okay, so the shadows are done for this. We're gonna do the highlights, and then we'll turn all the layers back on. And we'll see how the magic happens. Dennis saying we don't have to agree on everything, but if we couldn't listen to different opinions and discuss, we'd all be in a very past. That I 100% agree with. But like you said, the discussion can get a bit lopsided. Yeah, and to your point, Dennis, and I'm not trying to call you out because I appreciate you, man. I like you. Is that like if you were on the chat with and we could have a discussion? That's how you do this, right? Like I'm just talking based off of whatever, and then there's replies coming from that. So it's not it's not fair, right? It's not open. So anyway, I do appreciate it, man, that you're being open about it too. Okay, so let's get the highlights in here. So it's like this dark green color. Oh, we're going here. Whoops. Right here. Okay, so we're gonna make a new layer, put it in here, and change it to add glow, and we're just gonna put in some spots where maybe there'll be some highlights. Actually, I like to do the highlights with the flats already in there because some objects are like more metal and stuff. Let's turn this all on. Alright, so here we go. So this is what it looks like with all the shadows turned on. I'll turn it on and off there just so you guys can see it. Alright, and we're going to do some color adjustments too. And it'll just harmonize and bring everything together. Rachel, thank you, by the way, for not being afraid to talk about this stuff. Oh, no, hey. Guys, let me just be totally transparent. If you guys want to talk about this stuff, I'm more than game. I do feel like I've talked to Elena about this too, and one of the concerns I always end up having, and I almost regret talking about this stuff, is because like I started off with saying, I want to hopefully bring in money from my art, like I'm sure everyone in here would like to do. And especially now, with the way things are going, I feel like you kind of have to be, not fake. That's not the right thing, but like maybe self-censor, sort of talk about certain things because there's that risk of offending people, and then those could be potential people. But then the argument I have on that is like, then what are people buying into? They're not buying into the genuine you. They're buying into it just becomes transparent that you're just doing it for money, and that's the part where I'm like, I don't. I know I just said I'd like to make some scratch off of this stuff, but I'm talking more like the artist sense. Like I'm making art for people to enjoy. I hope, and if you'd like to buy some, cool. If there's people out there that would like to work with me, that I could do this kind of thing full time, that's what I want. But it's not like I'm trying to go out here and going like, okay, if I do this thing right now, this will make me X dollars. That's the only reason I'm doing it. I just want to make that clear. So when we talk about certain things like this, like I've deleted posts and stuff, and I guess self-censored because people think I'm somebody else, or how could I talk about this kind of stuff, like think I'm better than this kind of discussion, all that, and I so fundamentally disagree with that stuff. Like I had a couple people on Facebook actually when I was posting some videos that I was finding out about the good old coronavirus. I deleted them, so you can't go back and find them. Maybe you could. I don't know. They're just saying some stuff where it's just like they used to watch my shows and I'm so uplifting and positive. How could I be talking about this kind of stuff like this? They thought I was better than this, or what happened to me? How come I became this way? And it was like, I didn't know what to say to that. I was just like, we're just doing art, man. We're just doing art, and it's fun. I enjoy this stuff. I enjoy doing what I'm doing right now, talking to you guys, and I'm having a blast. This is good. You guys are helping me get through my day of doing this stuff. That's great. Thank you. And I hope everybody gets everything they're trying to do and wins with everything and learns and all that stuff. That's never going to change, but like to just wrap me into an opinion because it's not what you think, that's where it gets like, that's where I just get like upset with everything about this stuff. It's like you can't have an opinion that's different because you offend people. And I'm starting to edge closer and closer to just going like, you know what, I don't even really care anymore. The self-censoring stuff, it's not good. And the more you do it, the more, I don't know, I guess the risk is like the ostracization or something. Do you guys know what I'm trying to say here? Does it just sound like I'm being all over the place right now? I probably am. Yeah, we're all adults here. We're not mature, though. It's kind of getting better a little bit at the bottom here. It's still kind of... well, I'm glad you guys are all talking about it. Healthy discussion. Never hurt anybody. I appreciate that, too. I agree. Dark side, the best thing we can do as people is agree to disagree. I will agree with that. Preach it, Nimrod, my man. Rachel's loving the shading. Thank you, guys. Wait till we go in here and we punch this up with... And I'm going to show you a couple things. I'm going to show you a couple of 6 things that's really going to blow your socks off. And it's very simple. You guys can all do it. You can all do it at home. Without leading you on a little bit more, all it is you're adding like a color balance layer, and it just harmonizes the color. And then I think I do, could be wrong. Yeah, I put like a paper texture on stuff because I just like doing that. And a level balance is the last thing I've been doing, because when I put the color balance on, and you'll see what I'm talking about there, things get a little, how you say, dark. Do I have 2 light sources? I do. I didn't know we were doing bounce light. Ooh, okay, that kind of changes some stuff. Alright, okay, I'm going to stop shading down here. You got to be careful how much you shade or you highlight, because your eye cannot do what it wants to do. And it'll start going, oh, look at everything I have to look at. So you got to keep it all usually around the same spots. So I'm going to try to keep it all close to her face here. But apparently we got bounce light, so... let's go ahead and add some of that too. Just add a little bit to her hair. You guys and your discussions, I love this. I just want to read this stuff all the time. Dennis, it's the whole you can love the art and you don't have to love the artist thing. Yeah, great point. I know there's some cats that are... that's one of the things I... Like why I'm hoping. I'll never consider myself Comicsgate. The movement aside, I don't care. There's people in there that I've known before they were part of that. There's a lot of really helpful people in there. A lot of really cool people that I know, that I've known before this whole thing started. And I still talk to them because they're good people. But I don't want to be bulked into that thing. Because I've heard like some people in that movement too, man, like if they start like falling out of line or saying certain things, like you just get destroyed, man. Like people come after you. Like they start to like destroy your character. Anyway, that's getting into a whole nother thing. I'm getting into everything that I don't want to get into today. Dark side, I've had to do with that with my YouTube stuff. I have 56,000 subs and I fire off. Oh, congratulations by that too, by the way, man. Sometimes people are surprised or something and I'm like, really? I'm abrasive already? How did you not see that coming? And sometimes it's not worth the argument. It's like a vacuum online, man, when you're just talking about this stuff. Rachel, it's sad that people view having an opinion as a negative thing like that. There's nothing wrong with you wanting to talk about it. It does make you pessimistic and glum. So long as it doesn't make you that, yeah. Dennis, I'm still divided about Michael Jackson, for example. Not that I'm a huge fan, but sometimes I hear a song and enjoy it, and I suddenly feel a slight ping of guilt. Really? That's too bad. I love Michael Jackson's music, man. That guy. Actually, here, let me make a note. Okay, I gotta listen to some now. Whenever somebody talks about him, I always gotta like listen to the music. Nimrod saying it's refreshing to listen to. Cool. I appreciate that, guys. Anyway, okay. So I think I'm done with the highlights are here. Now, apparently, I did a bounce light. So I'm just going to duplicate that layer. This is how I normally do it. I'm duplicating the layer, pressing delete. That way I can still draw in here. And we're going to change the color after we put in where it's going to be. So we're just going to go in simple spots here. This can, you got to be careful. At least I consider you got to, I would suggest you got to be careful because your characters can start to look very shiny. And that might be what you want to do. I don't know. Just be a little wary of it. Just put a little bounce light there. A little bouncy poo. I would argue too, I guess, one of the things about talking about, I guess, what people would consider popular, maybe, is it sort of like humanizes you a bit. And I guess it just depends what you want to do, like with your online stuff. Like I said, one of the fears I've always heard is like you don't want to shy away newcomers, right? Like every day is somebody's chance to see your stuff for the first time. All right, and like I said earlier, I'm trying to focus on like I just want to be escapism. I want people to come to my stuff because they don't want to look at the real world stuff, I guess, or like I'm hoping I'll never put that in my material, like a comic or something like that. But I guess in a live stream, it's a little bit different, right? We're just talking. You got hours to fill here. So it's kind of hard to just not talk about certain things. It's a little bit more organic, I guess. All right, so we can put there. That's enough bounce light. I don't want to get too nuts here. What if we put it on that side? Yeah, that looks good over there. Okay, so we're gonna change the color here actually. So you just go Control U for hue saturation, and I like to pick like I don't know something like might be whatever the opposite of the color we're using. So probably like a blue. We will punch up the saturation a bit. Maybe something like that. I'm actually going to soft erase some of these. They just feel a little too hard on the coins. And if I can remember, if I forget, please remind me. I'm going to put like a little graphical shine on those. Okay, so this one's, I'm just going to say this one's done because I know I'm going to keep noodling if I don't stop. So next thing we do is we're going to duplicate all of that stuff. And we're just going to call this one effects. So this way I can do everything I need to do in a separate layer. Okay, so colors off here. Let me go. Alright, so since we don't need all of these layers, just going to select everything and we're going to merge it all together. Right, so got that. And then I'm going to duplicate that so I always have that version to go back to. Now, let me see. Spellweaver. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to copy this. This is our paper texture. Delete this mask. We'll put this back on after. Okay, and so we had a level, we had overlay, color balance. Alright, so we are blurring it a bit. Okay, I'll show you what I'm talking about with that in a second here. Alright, so first things first. So this is what I was talking about. You get the juicy magic. So we go up to layer, new correction layer, color balance. Now you don't go too crazy with this, okay? You just gotta go a little bit. I always like to start with the shadow, and the shadows I picked were like that pinkish red, right? So normally I would go into the yellow and the red. So I'm just gonna show you how this works with that. So all it does is just punches up the shadow colors and harmonizes things a bit. And the highlight you just do the opposite. So again, the shadow was red, yellow. So the highlight means it's cyan, I guess, in blue. So just bring that a little bit over here. a little over here. Now I'm just going to look over at my second monitor just to see how that looks. So we turn it on and off. It's a very subtle thing, but it just brings things together a little bit more. And then we're going to duplicate all this. Oops. A lot of duplicating here. And then we're going to merge it. So I'll show you why I'm doing that, okay? So I have just the colors, but now I have a flattened version of like the adjusted colors. It's a slight thing, okay? Go there, and then we're going to duplicate that one again, and we're going to go filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and nothing too crazy. This is kind of like how I've been coloring lately too, by the way. Something like that, and all it's doing is just softening the things up. We go over here, we go to screen. Look at that, you get like that nice animated glow. And we'll bring this down. Don't want to go too crazy. I think 33 was kind of what we were using. So we just turn that on and off so you can kind of see it's still there. But what we're getting is, I don't know if you can see, there's like this blur. So we're going to just clip it to the layer below so it keeps it nice and sharp. Right? And then we're going to go ahead and turn on our paper texture. And I wonder if we can clip it to that. We can. Juicy. Alright, so now that's pretty much done, except we're going to go up to layer, level correction, and now we can adjust the layers. So this is where I like to bring it up just a little bit, just to make it a little darker. Right, because a lot of the effects we were doing kind of moved it around a bit. We'll just brighten it up a little bit. I don't go too white here. Maybe we can. If you're ever wondering, like I say, I'm always looking at a second monitor, okay? So I'm not just staring off into the distance. Alright, so let's turn that off so we can kind of see where we're going. And then I think what I might do here, just because I'm a massive fan of saturation, I'm just going to pump the saturation up a little bit. See if we mess with the hue a little bit. Nah. Alright, let me catch up with the chat here just so I can take a break and take a look here. People get scared off by politics. Yeah, I get it. I agree. Thank you, Stu. I appreciate it. Hero, you have the luxury of having a computer that allows you to see in real time. Mine is to toggle the preview on and off. What's that, sorry? You have the luxury of having a computer that allows you to see in real time. What? You can't see real time on your computer? Yeah, Lars, go sleep, man. Go sleep, my friend. Okay, I think this is okay. Alright, let me open up my reference just to make sure I'm not missing anything else here. Okay, let me just turn off these for a second and make a new layer. And all I'm going to try doing here, I got to be careful about this. I'm going to make a screen layer, and I'm just going to put like this darker green. I just want to see what happens if we add just a little bit of glow to those eyes. It's kind of what you want. And then same with this knife. Alright, let's add all of our effects again. Yeah, I think that's gas. I think that's it, my friends. What do you guys think? Something need to be changed? Something need to be adjusted? It's a little hard to go back and color adjust things at this point, but sometimes you need to go back. I guess one other thing we could try doing here is before that we're going to go layer correction layer. I want to see if I can punch up the greens a little bit. It's not... Is it the tone? Green? Never really mess with this too much. Oh, I see. Okay, so if we bring this up a little bit. subtle, but I think that's what we want there. So what was it, you were saying that your effects, you can see them as they're happening. Mine, I have to toggle them. Are you serious? I'm sorry to hear that. I like how your black line changed color, so that's it. Yeah. So here, if I go to the Mind Thief, just so you guys can see, my line art is just on a separate layer, so I can change the color of the line art. That's all that's happened. On this, it looks like the colors. Like watch, if I go up here, make a new layer. If I color sample this, it's like this red, and it wasn't that color before. But because we were able to pull away from the black earlier, like that's more of the color. It's like a purple. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this up. The only thing we need to do now is let's grab a inking brush. I'm just going to do a gross version right now. We'll change it. So we're going to just do like a classic. Classic shines on these bad boys. Just to get your eye to kind of move around the piece a little bit. Maybe we get a little shine on this one here too. Actually, let's maybe change the size of the shines up. Okay, so we'll go there, and then we'll make a new layer underneath. And again, I don't like to use a lot of airbrush with this stuff, because when I print it, airbrush can get a little wacky town. So let's just use like a, what's it called? Like an orange. And then these, we're going to change. Let's see how they look when they're white. Let's try yellow. Yeah, like that. Nice and simple. And then you might not even be able to see this, but we're going to put a little white in there too. There you go. It's just something. Nothing too crazy. Just a very fine line. Okay, cool. So this one's done. Let's save that. And again, if anybody's on Patreon, these will be available for you guys to just download. Plug. You got to plug it all, right? What time is it? We really got to move faster on these. Okay, so I'm going to export these. Just give me 1 second. Scoundrel. Yes. 1200. Yeah. Go here. Okay, and then I do a TIFF for printing. I usually have to bring these into Photoshop because they need to be printed at CMYK. So a lot of these blurs and stuff, they kind of get... There's some adjustments we got to do in Photoshop. Not a lot, but just a little bit. But anyway, okay, that one's done. Hey, Van, welcome. Possibly shine spots on the sword. No, you guys are... Yeah, I should put... I cannot... Yeah, I can't imagine not seeing it either. That'd be crazy. I don't, so just so I can show you guys, like, I don't put shines, like, there's no shines on a lot of these things. I just wanted to add just a little something on there. That's all. I don't want to go too crazy with stuff, because this is the thing, and for me, when I'm doing this stuff, is I could add another layer of shadows to really push things back, highlights to bring it up, airbrushing, gradients, like, these are all, like, all the shadows and highlights are sharp lines. Actually, yeah, so just going in there, I have to be careful because you could spend a lot of time going in there to do all those things, and arguably they do look good. I just don't want to get lost in that. It's very easy to get lost in that. Okay, let's get our shadow color again. Let's do the Mind Thief. Sorry, Rachel. I hope you'll be able to soon. I don't like hearing that people can't get a computer. All right, let's get off that. Getting angry. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's go here. Let's get that reference. And I thought I already had this one open. 1 second. Duplicate that. Move it over here. Boom, boom. Okay. Mind Thief. Crap. 1 second. I forgot to, since we're kind of changing the way we do the eyes, let's go up here, make a new layer. Alright, so we got this really cool color. And what we're going to do is we're going to really push up the saturation instead of drawing in white. I feel like once we... No, 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 no. Okay, we're going to actually push this a little bit here. Pardon me. We're going to go like that. We're going to make a new layer. We're really going to push this. Because I don't want this to get lost. This is like one of the cool things. It's like glowing eyes and stuff, right? And his hands are kind of the same. Almost looks like paint. In my version anyway. Might have to add like a little bit of a glow here. Yeah, something like that. That looks better. That looks better. Is the left hand missing color? Oh, this one right here? No. So here, look, sorry. I know you guys don't know what the hell I'm looking at. This is what we're looking at. What he's doing is there's magic we have to add behind the sword, apparently. But he's just mind controlling things. And in this, he's mind controlling rats. That's why they all have the blue eyes. So it's like magic kind of coming out there. Alright, let's draw. Actually, let's just use this. Looks like flame a little bit. Alright, I'm going to have to finish that over top of that line art in 1 second. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Let's save it up. Alright, we got about 45 minutes or 50 minutes, and that'll be it for today. Let's get some music going for me. What if I should keep this here like that? Oops. I like that better. Feels more like a muzzle. Okay. How long? I don't know. Till noon. That's when I go on lunch. So about 50 minutes. I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow here. It's not in the design, but it'll I hope help make it pop. Thanks, Rachel. Actually, here, let me pause this here so I can hear myself speak. Let me throw this out to you guys because I appreciate Rachel's kind words there. I love the way you cut the shapes. Thanks, man. Well, here's the thing, Lars. Before I ask you guys, actually, I'll ask the question, then I'll get to Lars. So, one of the things I had asked many months ago was preference of my style going forward, and I got a lot of really cool replies. The chibis I put on there, not a lot of people like them, but people like them. In that poll, a lot of people didn't vote for them, but people like it. And I enjoy drawing them, right? It's different. I don't know if I would necessarily do I could do a comic like this stuff too, right? I enjoy the hell out of it. It's super fun. But I feel like they probably work a little bit better as like a poster, a pinup kind of thing. Speaking of which, and before I get into the question again, I'm rambling. I'm thinking. Remember we were talking a couple weeks ago, or what am I talking about? A couple days ago, about doing maybe like a Final Fantasy VII print. I'm seriously thinking of pushing forward with this like Chibi Fridays or Chibi whatever the hell, and doing a Final Fantasy VII Chibi collage with like the characters and stuff. I think that'd be a lot of fun to do. But anyway, so my question was, what do you guys think of this stuff? As like, I don't think I'll do it, but I'm just out of curiosity of just doing chibis all the time, just this style, this look, all the time. But for Lars, I think Lars, don't you like doing like the '90s stuff, right? Like a lot of shadows and rendering, right? The way I'm doing shadows here, like cutting them out, it doesn't really work that well with like the style you enjoy, which is a little bit of a shame, especially if you like it, and you want to add it to your thing, to your style. I'm sure you can get it to work for sure, but when you're one of the things is when I'm coloring in or using color for shadow is what I'm trying to say. You get a lot more flexibility because there's so much room to draw, right? Like it's like a coloring book. I can go in here and I could add my shadows anywhere I want. The same rules apply with what you do in, like, we'll say, like Mike Mignola and other comic book artists that just work in black and stuff like that, with rendering as the gray. But it's a little different because things can get muddy real quick. Since the color's not a solid black, you still see the form and the shape underneath, so it doesn't get hidden. So there's a lot more play that you can get away with in that stuff. See you, Nimrod. Thanks for popping in. Do you like me calling you that, or do you just want me to call you by your real name, man? I just feel weird calling you Nimrod. Chibis meet Jessup King. I don't mind the chibi stuff, would miss the rest though. Hero, I like your chibi style, but I do enjoy regular proportions better. Rachel, my great grandma was an orphan, so we don't know. Oh, you're talking back to heritage. We're almost done this cup. Man, that's a huge coffee. God. Darren is fine. Okay, I'll just call you by your name, brother. See you later. Lars, I don't know if I'm that into the 90s stuff, but I admire it, and I think it's like a thing I'm chasing. I can't wrap my head around it, and that's why I always mention. Okay, no, that makes sense too, because it's probably the thing that got you turned on to comics. Yeah, if I had to bet, if I had to guess. So you see, even what I did right there, like I'm just using the shading to make this look like a leaf and erasing the shade. But that's one of the cool things I love about cell shading, is it's like a cheat with coloring in a lot of ways. You don't gotta overly complicate stuff. All right, I'm gonna push all of this in the shadow back here. And we'll cut out just a little bit of light. Hopefully this will keep your eye looking here and you won't get lost back here. Something like that. Alright, let's get some shadow under these fangs. Boom, 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 boom. Dragon Ball. Oh, hell yeah, man. Alright, let's try to do this up here. This is gonna be a little complicated. Yeah, Lars, that's that. What that a problem? What that is a problem of form. It's easy to fix if you reduce the amount of black you're adding. It was for me. I mean, hopefully that you can try that if you're still trying to get that look. But it's one of the reasons I pulled away from adding this kind of shadow to my work with solid black. It just, to your point, things can get real flat, and then you're relying on colors to hopefully bring it through. Lawrence, welcome, man. Do you have a chibi of Jessup and Momo? I do not. I did one project at work. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I still have access to it. Let me see. We were trying to make different themes for Match 3 games. And we were just throwing everything at the wall. We wanted like sci-fi and all that. And I made a guy with a kind of like a Jessup King mustache as a chibi. Let me see if I can find it. One second. And the costume too doesn't look anything but right here. And this is the kind of style I do at work where it's super simple. And you put in like a space background pulled in from the web, and then kind of jazz it up and put some sparkles and some other kind of glows. And you can see like even the rendering I'm doing here, I'm coloring it like the old school way with like an airbrush, which I don't do now. But yeah, simple stuff. John, you only do one layer of shadows? Yes, just one. I've been tempted to do two. After some artwork that I seen some other cats do, I was like, oh, because I could just push just a little extra. But again, I'm trying to not. What I like to do to push something in the background is I'll just draw like a layer over top, like a blue layer or something to push things into the background. Here, do you guys remember this one we did for my niece? Where's it? April. I'll show you. So instead of doing like two layers of shadows, and arguably adding that layer of shadows would make a lot of sense. But if you turn the effects off and just go to the colors here, this blue, you see this is how the line art looks. I just add like a layer like that to push the background back. Maybe you can even turn that up more, right? That way the foreground pops. That's what I've been doing for shadow, as opposed to worrying about going in there and going too crazy. But one of the problems that I'm finding, and this will be interesting to do with Godslayer, is since I'm drawing different, like I'm actually putting in shadows now. Where's a good example? Patreon. Let's bring up our good friend Alex. Yeah, okay, so this was like the newer one with Jessup or whatever, right? But since I have this layer of shadow now, it's making this pass that I'm doing with shadows, it's almost like that's my second layer of shadows. And I'm not sure if I like the look of it. It's gonna take some time. Actually, this is a poor example. I have one that's exactly what we want. This dude. So you see how there's like the shadow, the black, and then we're doing what we're doing right now. We're just adding in one layer of shadow. So it does enough, but I worry once we get into actual pages that do enough of this and it's just going to start to look like everybody's on top of each other unless we do what I just showed you, where you kind of like push elements into the background as opposed to adding, because I would say it's pretty easy to just go. I'll use the color I'm doing now. Just go multiply, and just do like another layer of shadow. Actually, let's do... Oops. Yeah, that's fine. We'll go here. Just lighten that up a bit. Right, then you could really start pushing stuff that you don't want people's eye to be looking at. Or wherever you're going to put it, right? Right? You see what I'm saying? Like, it still works. There's nothing wrong with it. And it actually starts to look a little better than just a flat, but it adds time. And that's my biggest concern is I don't want to keep adding time. I want to get these going. You know, I want these moving quick without it looking like I'm phoning it in. Like, I still want people, because I'm asking people to buy these things, right? So it's got to be a level to it that looks completed. But I'm not trying to compete with other artists that are like doing chibis or something that are like painting them and stuff. That's not, I'm not trying to not combat, but like compete with other artists with this stuff. Hey, thanks, no problem, man. Lars, well, we did talk about it when we did the Patreon stuff, and I tried, but eventually just went with the open style. Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem, Hero. Yeah, the colors Chris did on my JESOP, yeah, he did a great job. He did a wonderful job. So we're just adding like a real simple shading layer to the water. So when we go in with the highlights, we'll get like a three-tone effect. You guys will see what I'm talking about. You'll see. Being on me. See you, Stu. Thanks, man. Okay, guys, the shadow is done. That's a lie. We gotta get our smooth watercolor. See if I can finish this one before lunch. Just soften up some of these layers, or some of these shadows. Just for some of this fur a little bit. Alright, let's see how she looks. Eh. Alright. Yeah, dude, no. I talked about this in like how many streams The reason I do that soft thing is back in the day, I don't know if this would have been early 2000s of the internet, web forum called Eat Poo. A lot of like insane artists were on there. If you guys remember forums at all. And there's a lot of people using Corel Painter. They would blur and mix textures in a way that I could never do. But I've always loved the style. Anyway, so in Clip Studio we were messing around, and I just saw it again, that style, and I was like, I'm gonna see if I could, if Clip Studio has anything like that. So when I went in there, and it was like, oh man, this thing does very similar to what I was looking to do back then. So now, I like cell shading for me is not easy, but it's simple to understand how shading, like it's just flats shading, and like highlight, they're all treated the exact same. And just being able to go in there with like that watercolor to smooth it, it almost looks like I went in there with a airbrush without having to go in with an airbrush. It has some limitations, like it's, you can only build out on like just the edge. I can't just like make a whole gradient area, and I'm not trying to do that, but it just adds like just a little extra that makes it, like with no real work, to make it look a little extra, if that makes sense. Don't hurt my pen. Oh yeah, beating it up, yeah. Okay, so I might change the shadow color. So we got a lot of greens. Green's gonna be, maybe green is the shadow color we want to go. Let's see how it looks over here. It looks a little sickly. Yeah, warm is not the way to go. We want to go more cold. Maybe more to the blue. We punch the saturation up a little bit. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I'm just go back and forth here to see the difference. Yeah, blue's the way to go. Okay, so we got that. What's the next step? Next step, where am I going? Is our highlight layers. Let's go to our friend Mr. Craighart. It's the one. Alright, turn to normal so I can see the color. I'm just going to delete that. Alright, and all we're trying to do here is make sure people are looking where we want them to look. Oh. Got the wrong tool. Large inking. Does your cell shading come from animation background? No. Where does it come from? Honestly, it comes, I would say it comes from when I was working at the video game place. Because when I jumped on, the artists that were there before me, they were using a program called Flash. And just an animation program. And a lot of that was like cell shaded. So I was just trying my best to be able to draw like the artists they had on staff before me. And it was super difficult. But the one saving grace I would say that made it a little easier for me was my comic background, to be honest. Because the way I'm doing the shading, for those of you that have, followed me for a while, this is pretty much the same way I was doing shadow work. Cut out a shape, just fill it with black. The other thing too is definitely going online to look at other artists that do cell shading. Right, I'm always a fan and a big proponent in not reinventing the wheel. A lot of people making wheels out there. See what wheel you like and see if you can replicate what they're doing, or at least understand what they're doing. There's a lot of cats that do cell shading. The only difference I would say is like even the comic book work I was doing before was not like this. It's very much that traditional comic book stuff with gradients and like a proper colorist, right? Glows and all that. And then the more I've just been sticking with this kind of thing, you start to learn some tricks. Like there's a lot of color theory and stuff that goes into this, but it's not, I would say it's easier than learning how to paint. Right? Because I'm just using hard colors here. There's no like, besides that watercolor thing that you saw me do, there's no what's it called? Blending or shading of any kind. It's just straight, solid colors. Sorry, I'm drifting here. I'm trying to just think this out, to think this through. So we're going to put a bounce light underneath here, because I want this to be a little bit more shiny. We're going to put a little glow on that, though. It needs it. Oh, you hey, Patrick, how's it going? From France, eh? Okay, I think that's enough for that. I'm not sure I like the color, though. So we're going to change that. So we're going to go green for down here. So this should probably be like an opposite of that. So like a purple highlight or something. Just let me fiddle with this so I can find purple. Yeah, somewhere like that. Okay, and then we're going to want a nice green for a bounce light. Is French mandatory in Canada? I don't think so. I know when we had the national anthem, they would sing like half of it in English and half in French. And I would just mumble through the French part. Okay, so we'll do the I'll do the water in a second. So make sure we get the bounce light here. Oops. Mm-hmm. So we've got about... You've inked 44 pages in 4 days. That's amazing. 11 pages a day. 11 panels a day. Good job. We've got about 10-15 minutes left of the stream, guys. I'm going to wrap this up by then. But if you guys have any comments or questions or anything before I take off, please jam them in the chat and I will get to them. Okay. Let's put a little on this guy too. They're nasty rat tails. Ugh. Maybe we can put a little on his nose here too. This might look weird. Let's take a look. Yeah, I don't like it. I'll put some on the other side of his tail just to help round that side out. Cool, cool. Alright, let's zoom out a little bit. We gotta do the water, and then we're gonna do some special effects stuff, and then we're good. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll put some right here. Just to try to keep his the attention on his face. Okay, we'll make one more layer here. Actually, how does this look? Yeah, it might be fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to paint in some light here. Just simple water here, not trying to win awards with greatest water in the world. Okay, I'll duplicate that and delete it, and then just paint over it again, just for a couple highlight spots. And then we'll just bring the brightness up a skimmage. There we go. What's that, hero? Yeah, I'll stream tomorrow too. I gotta hit you up with that outline action I got from you. I don't know how to use it. What, you're talking about the contour line? There you go, JESOP. Did you make your own brushes? I made a couple of them, and a lot of them I got from other people, or just what they were doing. Okay, I'm a little distracted here. Okay, so we got that. Our color's done, so we're going to duplicate this. Excuse me. Do effects. So copy everything. Merge it together. Duplicate it so we have what we need. Now I'm just going to go back to the scoundrel here, just to go through the same workflow. So we duplicated it. Then we did a color balance. Okay. So color balance. Layer, new correction layer, color balance. Now the shadow, we went to a blue with that, so let's just see how this sort of brings it all together. And the highlight, let's go the opposite, bring in some, actually I want to leave the reds out, we're going to go into the green a little bit. Something like that. Maybe, we'll see. Alright, then we duplicate all of this, merge it, and we're merging it again so we always have like a version that we can go back to. Okay. Then we did some screen and some levels and some hues. Okay, we just got the good stuff. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this guy. And we go filter, oops. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, just a little bit. And this starts kind of like blending a little bit of the colors together here. We'll go to screen. Put this sucker down to like 33%. Just so it's there, but it's not overbearing. Merge that down. And what is all this again? Oh, right. Alright, I'm going to copy our paper texture. Paste that over top. So now we've got that really cool look there. Now we'll go layer, new correction layer, levels. Some of these levels get messed up when you're color adjusting and all that. Go there. And don't think we need to mess with the hue and saturation. What I will do though is we'll make another layer above this. We're going to go into the screen. And we're going to airbrush just a little bit. I don't want to do this too crazy here. Just to maybe put a little ethereal kind of feel in the water, you know, like it feels like there's like some smoke or something in there. And then maybe we can put a little bit in the eyes. Just make these guys look like they're really mind controlled here. And then, I guess since we're going crazy here, let's put a little bit more purple in the blade. I guess we're just going nuts with the effects right now. So something like that I think works. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, I think that one's done. Boom. Presto changeo. Now I just don't know if it's too dark. I'm trying to... Sorry, just give me a second. I just want to make sure when I look at the monitor, sometimes you don't know what angle will get what you're printing. I think we'll keep the levels on. We'll just bring it down a little bit. Rather be safe than sorry, right? Cool. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so what I'll do then, guys, since I'm going to get back to your questions here that some of you may have left, I'm going to record this one, the Tinkerer, and I'll speed it up and do like a narrated version over top, okay? So it'll be like a 5-minute video or something. So we'll get a couple videos out of there. But thanks for popping in. So we got this guy done, and we got the Scoundrel done. That was good stuff. And just so you guys do know, too, when we do Godslayer, if I'm coloring it, at least that's the plan so far. And I will be doing... I'll be coloring it in this same workflow here. So if you guys wanted to go back, you could see the JESOP King stuff that I worked on. And I did it's a similar style to this. And you guys might dig that too. If you guys want to see more of how this stuff looks. Let me just export some of these files. Cool. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yeah, Kurt's a great guy. Yeah, if you want to watch proper coloring, go watch Kurt's videos. He's K. Michael Russell. There you go. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everybody that's in here. All right, couple questions here. Rachel, do you consider yourself a freelance artist? And did you say you worked for Marvel, or am I thinking? So I've worked, not like I've never gotten a check from Marvel, but I've worked with 2 Marvel artists doing like backgrounds and like some grunt work. So I've never done official work for them, but I have done work that has been published in a Marvel comic. And I don't really, you know, it's not like a praise of mine or anything like that. It's not an achievement. If I just did all the artwork, then that would have been something else. Freelance artist, yeah, especially now that work's dried up. I would say I'm 100% freelance right now at this point. Once Rona clears up and the world kind of goes back to pretending the way it was, we'll see what opportunities lead after that. Lars, will you put the inks out for others to color? No. Normally what I do Like I'll be posting all 6 because I'm not sure if I put these guys on Patreon. And these are for the $3 tier. I just post these whole things in Photoshop and a Clip Studio paint file. So you get all these layers, right? So you can look at the rough, then there's the lines, and then the inks. So if you have botanist or whatever, you could just have the inks here and color those if you wanted. And then if you wanted to see how I colored it with the layers and all the effects and all that, they're in there. And then all the extra stuff put on top. Okay, well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. And we'll do one last plug here before we go. If you guys wouldn't mind, you can subscribe to the mailing list. There's a link in the description as well as on the screen. You'll see a bit.ly link just right next to, where exactly does it look? I always see it and I always forget it. Right, yeah, I'm literally looking at it the way the mirror is right here. You can't see me moving my mouse. But yeah, you just go to bit.ly, bit.ly/jarmail, and I'm going to send out email once a month, once every 2 months, around there, just giving like a consolidated what I've been working on for that month and where you can go and where you can find that stuff in case you can't watch everything I'm doing or search for everything I'm doing. You can go there and maybe see topics you've had. I'll also be posting what I've been posting on Patreon, but like an idea. So what I would do is, let's say like these Gloomhaven ones, which will be in this month's, I'll post. These have been posted on Patreon with layered files if you're interested in checking them out. So you might not know everything I'm working on, but this email will let you know what I have been if you want to keep tabs on what I'm doing. Plus, like I keep bringing up, Godslayer is a comic I'm hoping to start crowdfunding this year. It'll be the first time I'm doing that, and I'm trying to document from idea all the way up to post-launch problems, how I came up with the comic process, and all that kind of stuff. And I do talk about a lot of that while we're doing streams and things, so it's not totally behind a paywall. But if you want a totally free version, you guys can go back. I believe there's a playlist on YouTube here that I made called JESOP King for my webcomic. You can go read that too. And I was streaming a whole bunch of that, so you can see the process of how I worked on that too. So anyway, there's that. And then the last little gross plug I'll put is if you're interested in any of these chibis and stuff like that, just go to my website, jonathanrector.com. You can click on this little shopping cart, and it'll take you to my Etsy store. There's a whole bunch of things up here you guys can check out. And if you're looking forward to these Gloomhaven prints, they'll be up tonight. And I'll make a post. I'll make a post on like Facebook and Twitter and all that if you guys are looking forward to that. Okay, guys. I think that's it. All right, so with that, I'll say goodbye. Keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.